Hey, everybody, welcome to High and Dry Podcast, the only podcast keeping alive the fandom of Little House on the Prairie and Michael Landon. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. James, I'm Ryan Barron North. With me, as always, James Crosslin. James, what's happening?
Not much. Just really excited to talk about Little House on the Prairie today.
Yeah,
It's a good one.
yeah. I'm more excited about to talk about Michael Landon.
Just in general.
Just in general, I feel he hasn't come up enough lately, especially in our
Well,
podcast.
he's he's been dead for a while, I think.
Yeah. Well, anytime I think of anybody who's passed on, I think of Coco, and I worry that because I haven't talked about him, he's being dragged further into the afterlife, and so I got to keep his memory alive via my podcast.
Well, he did do a lot of great, like all of his shows were ones that my family watched religiously. Well, I don't know about Highway to Heaven, but Bonanza and Little House on the Prairie, 100%. My family loved those shows. So
Nice. Well, we just bought him a little extra time in the Coco underworld, so there you go, Michael Landon. Enjoy. You who are just joining us for the first time, never heard this before, where we talk pop culture, entertainment, philosophy, all that fun stuff. We're going to dive into The Thing, the film The Thing from 1982, but we're going to do it while drunk and or high. So that being the case, James, what are you smoking today?
So for even after we texted each other about doing this, I totally forgot that we were doing it, and so I already smoked a little under a half a gram today. But I'm still gonna go hard today, and
That's good.
I've got one I've never tried called Oaksterdam OG. I assume
Hell
it's
yeah.
grown in like Oakland, and it's all supposed to be like in Amsterdam, I guess. I have no idea what the fuck. It's a really stupid name, but I'm gonna try it.
Cool. Well, I'm excited for you. I'm going to be joining you with Maker's Mark whiskey. I don't have the bottle with me. I put my shit in a decanter. Got quite
Mm-hmm.
the glassware going on over here behind the scenes. So I threw
That
the
way you
bottle
can
out.
tell anybody it's any type of
Oh, it could be anything.
whiskey in there.
It could be
You could
anything.
lie and they just accept it because it's in a decanter.
That's right. I'm class, and I even brought. So I have. I counted up earlier. I have 8 different sets of my whiskey glasses. Today I'm going with the executive. So that'll be
Nice.
nice. But yeah, so Maker's Mark. I think that's 40 horsepower if I remember correctly. But the tried and true. Let's try it. Sometimes it's on sale, and that's when I pick it up. So it was, and I did. So this first one is going out to the movie today, The Thing by John Carpenter. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to smoke this. Cheers.
Ooh. Yeah, I did know that we had this coming up, but it was lunchtime. I drank anyway.
Yeah. You got it to get through the day
Yeah,
nowadays.
that's
The
right.
world's a mess.
It really is. It really
There's
is.
fucking aliens out here pretending to be dogs and people and shit.
Oh, it's
It's
fucked
too
up.
much.
It's fucked up. So, the second one. Now that we're officially back on the air, this will be our second run around that goes live next week. Well, no, that's going to be Rebel Moons next week, but for you listening now, it doesn't matter. So this second one goes out to our newest listeners. These ones are in Glasgow. I don't know how we keep hopping to other countries, but we're making it happen. To
I think
Glasgow.
they're going to be mad that you called it Glasgow.
That's
it's
what it
it's
says.
it's it's Glasgow.
Oh, fuck that. It's whatever I say it is.
We can't understand you. We can't understand you when you talk anyway.
Get fucked. Cheers. Here's to Glasgow.
Cheers.
Whew. Man, I don't know what's going on. Like I'm drinking more than ever, but I need to practice my no face making when taking my ounce and a half.
Yeah,
Like they
you
do
don't
on
like,
TV, and you know.
you're being very real, which is where you go. Mm. It's very real.
So for this third one, what's it to? For this third one, I'll practice my no reaction.
I don't know.
Well, this
I have
this
no
last one
idea.
then is to me not making a reaction when I take a drink. If you're watching this on YouTube, you actually get to see if I pull it off. So here we go.
I'll
Cheers.
not have a reaction either. Cheers.
I felt the top lip move up a little bit, but that's all right. I don't think it was that bad.
From what I,
I'll
for,
review the tape later.
yeah, put a comment. Just leave us a comment and tell Ryan if he if he didn't make a face.
Like, cause I do I sip all the time, but I'm not just sitting at the house busting shots. So, oh well. Anyway, now that we've gotten our hits, we've gotten our shots, it's time to get into this show. So we're going to be talking about John Carpenter's The Thing, and we're going to break it down. Right now, we're going to go into our sober thoughts. Then we're going to move into our enlightened thoughts once the drugs and alcohol have had a chance to work their way into their system. And then finally, we're going to do some what ifs. We're going to throw us into The Thing, and we're going to see what we could do that Kurt Russell was incapable of. So, James, sober thoughts, The Thing. What are you feeling?
Sober thoughts on The Thing. I think that it's kind of a play on the locked room. It's almost like a stage play.
Mm-hmm.
The Thing, where the core of its tension and the driving force of the plot are actually interactions between people. You have a looming threat, but a lot of this movie is just people talking and
Yeah.
not trusting each other and trying to come up with solutions when they're presented with problems. And that's a very like stage play thing. There could be a The Thing stage play, and I bet it'd be pretty good.
Well, I'm working on that as we speak.
But I'd say that in the presentation, I felt like they did a really good job of, they did a lot of tight shots. I'd say it's comparable to Alien in a lot of ways, where they force you to be inside in this enclosed space. They have people walking. They have these deep shots of hallways and people coming towards you or leaving the focus of the camera frequently, and it's really tight. They have people coming through doorways a lot, because just to show that every room is kind of small. They don't have a lot of space and they're all stuck here. I feel that it did a really good job driving the tension, and while the props are limited by the time they were made, the technology
Yeah.
just wasn't there. They're very unique,
Oh, without a
and
doubt.
yeah, they're memorable. And I think that's one of the more important things when you're looking at a monster movie is it memorable rather than is it like photorealistic or something.
Yes.
And the same guy who did the props for this also did the props for Total Recall. And I had watched Total Recall recently. We're going to do an episode on it. I'd watched it for the first time really as an adult, and straight through. And I instantly noticed that it was the same person. I looked it up. I was like,
Oh, wow.
who did the props? Because they're so familiar, and both of those films have like really unique, recognizable props that are dated
Yeah.
but so memorable.
Yes. Yeah, see, I thought right away that I was looking at Cronenberg stuff, which wasn't the case. The dude who did The Fly and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But now that I think about it, the styles are pretty distinct. But The Thing, he had such a way of, I was like, using tubing he found in his garage to make it disgusting. And I thought it was especially limited by the time. I thought it was a fantastic job in that end. But as far as my sober thoughts, so I've always been a fan of the thing. I've seen it a lot. So Reese Merritt, we've had on the show a few times. He actually came with me one time when they were doing a re-screening in Las Vegas. So I've even seen the thing in theaters, and
Nice.
so I've always enjoyed it. It's for me, it's right next. It's next to Alien, which we did an episode on Alien,
All
which
the
I'm sure
way
you.
next to Alien. Right
Yeah,
next to it. Wow.
yeah, and
That's high
we
praise.
yeah we had high praise for Alien for sure. So yeah, if you guys could go back and listen to the episode we did on Alien, we didn't much care for Alien 2, 3, 4, 5,
I'd have to
6,
I want
7.
I'd have to watch them again. But I watched two pretty recently, and maybe I don't know, maybe I was just off on how I was feeling or not approaching it the right way, but I thought it was fucking junk.
uh, well, but so for the thing though, I I appreciate the distinct personalities that are there. It seems to me like fucking Wilford Brimley is the only
Yeah.
one who actually has a job there. The rest of them, the rest of them just kind of drink or roller skate. So I don't know what was up with that.
Kurt Russell's he's a pilot, right? He
He's the
does end up
helicopter
flying.
pilot. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so he does end up flying the helicopter.
yes, yeah.
But
So the
actually,
rest of
I
the
think the other guy, what's his name, Fuchs or something?
yeah, Fuchs.
Didn't he take the samples of the ice and I mean they did have some people do some science
It's
shit.
yeah, it's very vaguely touched on, but at the same time, that's a good thing. You have a story to get to. What's the chase, and how do we cut to it? And they did that.
In Rebel Moon, we would have just watched them do their jobs for
Yes,
like an hour.
yeah, and God bless Rebel Moon. They're farmers, and every scene was just A to B. How do we get back to farming? Let's talk about crop
Yeah,
moisture levels. Let's
the
get to
path
where
to
we need to
farming.
be. By the way, I used to be a fascist, and everyone's like, "Oh, okay. Well, hold on. Let me talk for an hour about that." Fucking Rebel Moon. God damn it. So yeah. So those are my thoughts on it. I enjoy it. I love the atmosphere. I thought the atmosphere is great. I like the personalities that are represented in it. I did feel like Wilford Brimley was the only one with a job, or at least who took his job seriously, which is
Right.
impressive because he's combating diabetes the whole time, and he doesn't let that interfere. I'm
Just look at
surprised they let him go to Antarctica.
very true.
I don't think we get insulin down there, Brimley. Are you sure? He said, no, I actually distill my own. So, other than that, though, yeah, I'm waiting to see what my enlightened thoughts are. Did you have any final sober thoughts?
Oh no, those are long gone.
Oh, they've left the building. All right.
Yeah.
Well, then, in that case, I think it's time to move on to the second portion of this. Let me shuffle around my glassware. I'm going to need another shot before we get into our enlightened thoughts. Is Wilford Brimley still doing okay?
I, I don't know. No, definitely not. He's he's 100% dead.
Okay. Well, shit. I just spared him from another Coco style rip into this underworld too.
That's true. He died August 1st, 2020. So he was
Shit.
like trapped at home.
Oh no. Okay. Well, that sucks. Well, this one's to Wilford Brimley.
Cheers,
Cheers.
Wilford.
Here's to Wilford Brimley. That was the one. That was the one. So I forgot the key to it. So for those of you listening and wondering how you too could drink like a well-functioning alcoholic and not let it affect your face, you have to take it on the tongue slow. That's what you got to let it roll down. You can't just choke it. You got to roll it down. Really savor the flavor of your Maker's Mark that was on sale at Cost Cutters. That's how you do it.
that was erotic. It was pornographic.
All right, now that we're all aroused and a little further down the road, and Wilford Brimley's been spared from Cocoa Hell, let's get into our enlightened thoughts. So James, with the drugs flowing, what are your enlightened thoughts on this?
My enlightened thoughts are: thank God for Keith David. What a great actor, and I thought he was great in this. Keith David is like one of my favorite actors who pops up and stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah. I absolutely love him.
He was Lyles, right? He was Lyles.
Hold on, let me look. I can't remember the name. I don't know their names.
I thought you watched it once.
His name is
Giles.
Yeah.
Childs. That's right. I would have known that in the sober side, but I would have known that in the sober portion. But we're beyond that now.
Yeah, we're way past that. But he was really great. I gotta say, Kurt Russell was a good actor in this movie, but he played an absolutely insane man. Who he plays. I feel like he's so typecast as an impulsive hothead who makes like terrible decisions.
He escaped from New York like 2 years just to wind up in Antarctica. Like, I mean, I'd be pissed off too.
And then he gets a job as a truck driver after this. The bomb didn't kill him.
Yeah. So, and he goes off and he's in San Francisco, which I would love to do an episode on that now that you bring it up. But please continue.
But I think that this is just a continuation or maybe a defining, film where he becomes an impulsive, just a hothead. And like he when he fucking tells Keith David, when he takes the gun and is like, I think someone more even tempered should hold on to this. And I was like, I audibly went,
I remember the exact line. Yeah.
He flew the fucking helicopter when they were like, it's too dangerous to fly this helicopter. He's like, I'm going out there. Like, what are we looking for? I don't know. And then, but even like the opening of this movie,
he murdered their only chess video game.
That's what I was gonna say. That's the opening of the movie. Is he loses a game of chess and destroys a piece of machinery.
Yeah, that's just even tempered right there.
I was like, what the fuck are you even talking about?
See, I think even temperedness is relative. He was intelligent enough and socially conscious enough to understand that any other man on this installation, had they have lost the chess game, would have blown up the facility.
Yeah, that's just how Antarctica makes you.
Yes. But to that point, I will say, I kind of, and it's interesting that you bring it up, and I think it's important to note that we don't know how we'll be until we're sitting there. And there's definitely a part of me right now, without getting too much into, what's going on in my real non-high and dry life. Right now, I'm finding myself in a place I don't want to fucking be. I have a developing drinking problem, all those sorts of things. And I feel just like him. Like, I have tons of experience, like, in my career, and I'm just so fucking over it. And I could totally kill that fucking chess game right now. At the same time, I would never let a single one of the motherfuckers I work with have the gun before me.
I believe you.
So I get it. I get where he's coming from. I understand.
I think that this movie is actually incredibly deep philosophically, and Kurt Russell represents a solipsism, where
I was gonna say that. But please go on.
But for those who aren't familiar with the term, solipsism is this idea where you are the only source of truth. Only your experiences and your ideas can be trusted. You're the
Mhm.
only thing with agency in the universe, and this is all just a construction of our minds and an expression of our minds to ourselves. And
Mm.
Kurt Russell thinking that he's even tempered is like such a
Yeah.
is such a
Mhm.
solipsistic viewer. It's like, dude, you apparently you can only see from your perspective.
Yes, yes. I definitely see that. Well, I'll see that, and I'll raise you the epistemological viewpoint of this particular movie.
Let's go.
So let's talk about nature and the limits of our knowledge. No matter how long you shove Wilford Brimley into a storage facility, and you
He'll
give him
always
that you give him that magical 1982 computer program that was somehow able to take a sample and determine that the exact amount of time before the world is taken over.
27,000 hours is what I saw.
What I want to know is why did they have that particular computer program? They have chess master and how long it takes for an alien entity to swallow the earth.
Those are the only two computers on board on that station. Every computer single purpose, and those are the only two.
So if I was Kurt Russell and Giles sitting there, and I'm putting that together, and I'm Kurt Russell, I'm like, they gave us chess master, and how long would it take an alien entity to swallow the Earth on on a deluxe floppy disk? Why did they send us down here? I
Right?
like. I feel like we were set up. I feel like we were set up, man. Those
I
would be my
always
last.
question I always questioned this computer and why it was here.
I mean, this is 1982. It took us 5 guys to bring that computer inside. None of us asked why we needed it. So yeah,
Who knows?
So I did appreciate the magical computer program they have, but to bring it back to my point, the entire time is just the concept of our knowledge can never truly capture the full picture of what's going on.
Right. And
And
I think that's really displayed by the script. And I think the writer had an epistemological crisis.
he was having some issues. His wife had just handed him the divorce contract, and he's seeing shit on there that was making him question everything. And he just
And they're
wished
like,
he had
what
a
are the
program.
it's like, what are the implications that that one single cell is all it takes for this thing to survive? What are the implications of that? Whatever. People aren't gonna ask too many questions.
And he just there's a computer program for that. But I think it definitely gives you an idea of what the general public thought computers were capable of at that time,
Right.
and
Right. And
what
it
like
also
just well, and just what researchers had that wasn't on their Macintosh. You know,
yeah.
I think it really definitely showed us the fantasy of computers at that time.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that the general public wasn't as educated as they are now. And I know it's we say like education's on a dip actually now.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I feel like during our period we got a pretty good education, and we especially like it touched on the higher concept, higher academic courses than conservatives would like. They say it's like a waste of time. But you and I know how, like, the structure of a cell, how cells work in a body, like what
Exactly.
the size of a cell, like what all of these things are things that clearly weren't understood well during this time, because it just gets poo-pooed that each of this organism's individual cells is in its own an entire organism that will seek to survive and
Well,
can replicate.
yeah, and with just a very general elementary knowledge of a cell, that is fucking wild.
Yeah, that means the Earth is definitely like at whenever this thing gets to where anything else is alive and can really kick things off, the Earth is done. It's gonna happen when the ice
Yeah.
caps melt. It's gonna happen then. It's gonna happen at some point in history that this thing is going to come in contact with life that spreads it,
Mm-hmm.
and
No,
that's just
and
it.
Wilford Brimley did not need the computer program to understand that. It was unnecessary.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
just for the sake of the audience.
yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's a wild thing. And well, so my last enlightened thought, and the thing I think I appreciate, excuse me, I appreciate most about the film is definitely the look at the whole survival, our instinct to survive,
Yeah,
pushed into contact with a community
yeah.
that's looking, at its destruction and trying to toe the line between being part of this group and then looking out for, number one. And
Well,
I
that's
think
a
that,
really yeah, that's a great way to sum it up.
yeah,
Because that's like a locked room stage play, right? Where people
exactly.
are stuck in a place together, and it's all about this showing how people can have different philosophical ideals and how they can value different things more, and how trust is a tenuous balance. It builds tension so well. And people have
Yes.
known that for a long time,
Mhm.
put it on the stage for a long time.
Without a doubt. And I think that'll definitely lend a lot to our what if, because we're, for our what if portion that's going to come up here in about 5 minutes, we're locking ourselves in this room, and then we get to answer for ourselves, how would we react when it really straight up comes down to personal survival versus, the survival of your group. And I wonder
Yeah.
myself if there was a better way for these guys, if they could get over themselves. Was there a better way? And I don't know. I honestly, I feel like this is the perfect chance to jump into our what ifs and just start working through it.
Sure. What are your thoughts?
Well, all right. So, for everyone, welcome to the third portion of this podcast. It's time to get into the what ifs. So, you're driving to work right now. It's a Wednesday morning. You're reaching for that bottle under the seat. You keep hearing us take shots. So,
We
you
do
got to
not
do it.
condone drunk
You
driving.
gotta look after numero one. Yeah, you stuck
listen,
down
he's
deep.
you're even tempered. All right.
Yeah, yeah. I'm even tempered. I can drink behind the wheel, um, but your average person cannot. So I can't condone it. Look, I'm one of those special types who becomes more safe as he drinks because he knows what's at stake.
that was that was an episode of WKRP. I don't know if you've ever watched that show, but it was like a
Mm-mm.
really fucking funny show. That was like a really good sitcom, and they had a character on the show who they did a reaction timing test, and as he got more drunk, he got faster, and it was a whole thing, and it was a very funny episode. One of the few
That is
episodes I
funny.
remember of that show.
That
They
is funny.
people in the past were funny sometimes. I'll give them that.
Yeah. No, I'll always remember this time. It wasn't me. It was this one guy and another guy who you got to get home from the party somehow. And halfway through the drive, they realized that all right, we've gone too far. It's time to hide in plain sight. And they pulled into a Taco Bell and just rode the wave through the drive-through Taco Bell. and got the best damn chalupas they've ever had in their lives. But anyway,
Take an Uber. Take an
time.
Uber to the Taco Bell.
Well, the guy that I'm referring to, he was riding shotgun, so whatever.
Right.
So it's time to get into that third part. It's time for our what ifs. It's time to insert ourselves into the thing. Which, by the way, I did also want to say I have one final heightened thought. So the thing, not a lot of people know, was not the original. It was based on the Thing from Another World, which was it happened in the 50s, and like the Thing from 1982, the Thing from Another World did some things with horror as well. It was still some time away from body horror. That would be a little too intense for our post World War II people. But what they did was, throughout every scene of the Thing from Another World, they would have characters opening a door. They'd be doing these same sorts of survival versus community arguments, and they'd argue while opening a door. They would talk to each other, opening a door, passing through it. And then finally, when the Thing arrives, they open the door, and the Thing is just standing on the other side of the door. And it fucking freaked everyone out. They were still reinventing and inventing the jump scare, and the Thing from Another World did it. And so they touched on that, and now we're in 1982, where Wilford Brimley and Kurt Russell and Keith David are taking the helm. And that was my last enlightened thought right there. So it's time.
Oh no, I've got more enlightened thoughts. You got more enlightened thoughts. I got more enlightened.
All right. What's your enlightened?
Another thing I have to credit this movie with is that I don't know if you flagged this when when I was thinking about like what makes a good film and what makes a bad film. Something that's a little dated about this is the scene when when Kurt Russell's got the flamethrower and the dude's head comes off and the flamethrower's like not starting up. And then it goes on for like 30 seconds of him going and that's something that we would not accept in film today. That was
we would.
hilarious.
I would argue right away with you, sir, that we would. Rebel Moon by Scott Snyder showed that audiences, what the fuck ever, he lost his first name as far as I'm concerned after putting out that piece of shit. But Rebel Moon showed us that you could just fucking do whatever. And as long as you created a horde of fans, it don't fucking matter. So, yeah.
And again, another thing in that movie, which I thought was very funny, was the explosions. Like when all the rooms like were having, like when they were setting fire and explosions in each room, we kept going every single room. We look in, and then there's an explosion out, and then there's look at another doorway, explosion, and another doorway, and it just kept going, and it was very funny.
Well, there's my first what if. My first what if would be like, hey, level-headed guys, stop fucking blowing up all the rooms. You understand? We'll die.
I don't know what they were thinking most of the time. And also that scene with the explosions made me think of did you watch Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, right?
Oh yes, yeah, I did. Yeah, I'm a Matt Berry fan, so yeah.
Yeah, so the where they talk about lengthening scenes out when they're talking about slow-mo in that one, but they're like sometimes our episodes were up to 8 minutes short. Everything was a candidate for slow-mo, and it's like in this movie it's like what they do with the explosions and what they do with the flamethrower. They're just like extend it. We don't have, there's not a lot here. It's just people talking. You got to put some shit in between. keep
Look, all that John Carpenter was doing in 1982 was walking so that Zack Snyder could run and have a single swing of a hammer take 135 seconds. That's
Damn.
all that was happening right there. That's all that was happening. So God bless him.
Man.
God bless
Okay,
John Carpenter.
I've got a lot more thoughts, but we can move on. We're
Yes,
already at
it's time for
like
our
35 minutes?
35. Yeah, so it's time for our what if. So James, you've been plopped in. You are an Antarctic researcher with no discernible knowledge of Antarctic research, except for a distinct style, a distinct personality, and a desire to live. What happens?
Oh, well, okay. So I know for sure that there's no way that we're going to live. Like just this thing walking around, like it if it's like building human parts and stuff and human skin, the human
Mm-hmm.
skin like naturally sheds. So there's just cells of this thing falling around and being kicked up in the air,
Oh yeah.
and so like I feel like as a modern human, I know that this is kind of like this is a problem I have with zombie movies too. Is that zombie if the zombie blood is like has a virus in it or something, and people are
Yeah.
running around with a baseball bat or a machete or something, you're throwing the fucking
Blood
virus
everywhere.
all up in the air and in your fucking face and shit.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way to avoid it,
Well,
and
it's a good
it's silly.
point. Well, which is weird because that means that the original Night of the Living Dead makes sense more than like 28 Days Later, because the original zombies were here because they ran out of room in hell.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah. So like, yeah, don't go crazy, guys. Don't try. Like, if you're not a scientist, don't mix science into your fantasy.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
it is very important because if you want your piece to be timeless,
Yeah.
it's important that you don't get too technical
Mm.
about the rules of your plane. You want to make your rules simple and understandable and essentially infallible. But when you
Yes.
reference like real
Mm-hmm.
science,
Oh yeah.
our understanding changes all the time. It's
Yeah.
impossible.
Well, I mean, you and I both know, when have we ever struck someone as hard as we can in the head with a bat and not been missed it? It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, yeah. I have to change my horror movie animal mask every single time
Yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
there's
Mm-hmm.
evidence all over it.
Yeah, and I have to redo my sunscreen every time. I won't step outside to beat someone with a bat without sunscreen. UV rays are the death of skin. So
It can burn you through. It can burn you through the clouds. Everybody knows that.
so so all right. So you're what if? So you're there now. You know you're gonna die. That's.
Essentially,
So
this
what do
thing
you
is
do?
going.
I drag Ash into the shower.
Keith David's there.
Oh yeah.
He's a hunk, man. Keith David. That deep voice is so like just inherently sultry. He's got such an amazing voice. It really does like I don't mean it like sexually, but every time he talks, it's like, wow, that's a great voice.
I
The
feel
man's got
safe.
such an amazing
He
voice.
does.
I feel whatever Keith David wants me to feel because he's also he's a good actor. He's like so good
Yes.
at using his voice to convey emotion, and his voice is so unique and powerful that he's really good at it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe I'd go fuck Keith David, or more. I mean, Keith David would fuck me. Let's be honest.
Let's be honest.
But no, I'd be like, well, we should probably have a working chess machine for our final hours and go try to repair the chess machine.
Okay. All right. Solid. Solid. Okay. So, all right. So I'm in there now. I'm in this Antarctic research facility. They keep destroying the barriers between me and the cold weather. I start to think that you guys are just as much as danger as anyone else. But I also don't want to die by that thing, because that looks terrible. That looks like a horrible death. Especially just the hand one, when the thing gets the hand on his face and it starts fusing that way. That's a slow fucking death. You can live a long time without your jaw.
Yeah. The fingers
Holy
went
shit.
they went under the skin. The fingers went like under the skin to meld.
Hell no. Yeah, so for me, that's priority one. I will kill myself before the thing kills me.
Yeah.
Keith David's already in the showers with you. I don't know how they have hot water anymore.
I don't like, we keep talking about the showers, but I'm not a shower sex person. It's
not about what you want. It's about what Keith David wants.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he would respect my wishes. Yeah.
Okay. I think that I feel like he's a giving lover. So yeah, all right. So the showers are still available to me.
He was the most even-headed person in that entire movie. He's the one who gets yelled at. I think someone more even-headed should have this. He's the most even-headed person in the movie. He doesn't flip out. He's like very much like, listen, we should all talk about this. I don't think you should be in control, you fucking crazy bastard. And I don't know. It's wild that the black man got yelled at, you're too much of a hothead, after doing fucking nothing to deserve that.
So I will say, trying to think of the best way, I would say he did sort of present himself immediately, the character at least presented himself immediately as, I will take care of myself.
Yeah.
And, if you're leading people, I can sort of understand. Well, I could say this, as a person who's going to take care of myself, so it's in this what if scenario, as a person who's going to take care of myself first, I don't want Keith David to have that gun.
Well, I do want to point out that the person who was like, I'm going to take care of this, got everybody killed.
Yes, he did. That's a good point. Yeah. Kurt Russell did fail at saving everybody. So
yeah, and he did, and it was because he did really stupid, careless things, which we knew about the character in the first scene.
But he was just so damn likable. It was Snake Plissken. So my first move would be to kill Kurt Russell and kill Keith David.
And then no one is willing to argue with you.
Exactly.
And then that'll make everything better.
Yes. I'm killing everybody. It's decided. Everyone's getting flamethrower.
Listen, it's no worse than the outcome of the thing. It's no worse.
No.
It might even be better if everybody just dies real quick.
It might be better. So yeah, I'm going to all right, everyone on the other side of the room, we're doing this blood test. And then I just send them all straight to fucking hell.
You just fucking assassinate them one by one.
No, I'm using the flamethrower. And I'm committing war crimes here, baby.
No.
I am just scorching that side of the pool room.
Jesus Christ.
And every living thing I see is getting turned into a Vietnam war crime, and then I will sit in the corner until the helicopter arrives.
And then you'll infect the whole world.
Correct.
Because you stepped in it, because your boot stepped in the fucking thing's blood. Maybe that's all it takes.
No. You forget. Everywhere I go, like I'll be sitting there like, I have to take a piss, and I will gently wash the hallway with the flamethrower as I work my way way to the bathroom.
You flamethrow the bottom of your shoes.
Oh yeah, it'd be constant. I would be constantly finger on the trigger, I would. Oh, and there would even be a scene where after I just scorched everyone on the other side of the pool room, I'm like, fuck, I forgot Wilfred is out in the shed. Let me go torch him.
Would have been the right move.
And yeah, that's what it would be. I would get my hands on the weapons first. I do not trust this community to hold itself together. They're all libertarian and weird. And the ones who aren't, I can't trust them not to become libertarian. So I
To
am
be
going
easily swayed by the libertarian argument.
So you're all going to die.
What if we didn't owe each other anything?
Yeah. And like, nope, I'm not letting you be swayed by libertarianism. You're on fire. And you're on fire. And Wilfred's still out in the shed, so he's on fire. Yeah. That's what it would be. And then for the next 2 months, as I'm sitting in the dark, I would just randomly scorch parts of the floor and hope I made it out. So, yeah.
Well, no matter what, the entire Earth is doomed.
Correct.
It just depends on the time scale.
Yeah, no, at the end of the day, eventually those ice caps are going to melt. Yeah, until our rich overlords decide to do something about that. The thing will one day be our reality. Don't bother with kids, people. Don't bother with kids. Don't bother with grandkids. It's a wrap. It's over. It's all.
Don't bother building connections with other people or structures.
They're probably libertarian. There's no point.
If they're not libertarian now, they will be soon.
It's spreading. It's spreading. They get to feel smart because they're in the middle, in their opinion. So yeah, it's spreading.
Listen, I'm not loyal to anybody or anything. So you can't. So I can't be held accountable.
And then he gets flamethrowered. Yeah. So don't bother, guys. Our future is the 1982 John Carpenter's The Thing. Don't bother with fucking anything. I feel that that's the perfect conclusion.
Yeah. Overall, good movie.
Solid movie. So there you have it, folks. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, like, subscribe, do all that bullshit. Here's to
Also,
The Thing.
Got to point out, Kurt Russell killed a lot of just regular dudes.
Oh yeah.
Who were not infected.
God damn it, Snake Plissken. He did, and he just popped him from the hip. The hip.
Yep.
Yeah.
Killed quite a few just guys.
Just guys. So there you have it, folks. Thank you, John Carpenter. Thank you, Kurt Russell. Thank you, Keith David. Thank you, Wilford Brimley. And thank you, listeners. And thank you, Glasgow. Good night. Bye.
Bye.